stabilised with around 16.5 million users online. That's about 80% of the normal number. Now, here's an interesting thing. Forget AT&T, BT, Deutsche Telekom, or anywhere else. Skype is actually the world's largest phone company if you add up the number of international voice minutes that they connect. 23 million users online, apparently at peak time, from Hong Kong. Anna Coren explained the interesting aspect about Skype and the way in which these 23 million users are actually all part of the telephone exchange.
To explain why Skype was unavailable for millions of users, let's first show you how it varies from regular phone calls. Well, as you can see, normal phone service is pretty straightforward. Your phone is connected to a network headquarter and the call is relayed directly to the recipient. We'll compare that to Skype. It's a peer-to-peer network, and that means it doesn't rely on any central base. Instead, your call is routed through other computers all running on Skype. But there are up to 23 million users online at peak times. So to help Skype organise its network, it designates some computers as supernodes, like this one right here. Well, the supernode basically acts as a phone directory, helping to find the best route to the person that you're calling. Skype relies on these supernodes to operate properly, and when many of them were knocked offline by a software problem on Wednesday, it restricted access to Skype for millions. Well, the company has responded by creating what it calls mega supernodes. It's apologised to users, and things should return to normal soon. Anna Coren, CNN, Hong Kong.
So, that's introduced a new word to the vocabulary, the supernode. Is your computer, if you use Skype, are you a supernoder? We needed to know what supernodes was all about. And indeed whether we were all supernodes, and did it make any difference anyway if you actually managed to get your phone call through? Dan York is the Director of Conversations at voice-over IP company Voxio. He's an expert in internet telephony. When I read his assessment, I knew he had to explain to me if any computer running Skype has the potential to be a supernode.
Great questions, Richard. So, first of all, yes, if a computer was outside of a firewall, connected directly to the public internet, and it was running Skype, it could become a supernode. Now, the reality, though, is that in your home PC, your little PC at your home, you're behind some kind of firewall. It might be the box that your cable provider gave you, or your DSL provider, or whatever, but you typically got some kind of firewall running. If you didn't, if you were directly on the public internet, you could. If you think of large universities or many other entities that might have real-live public addresses without firewalls, they're the kind of organizations that could have computers become supernodes. Now, Skype has some algorithm. It's a proprietary algorithm that suggests, that selects computers to become supernodes. So just because you have a public address doesn't necessarily mean you would become a Skype supernode.
Now, once the Skype algorithm has decided, your computer is supernode status, what does that mean in reality? Is Skype sending information to my computer and then it's sending it out again? What does it mean?
Sure, yeah, so it is, in fact. And so what happens is the supernodes exist out on the public internet to connect people who are behind firewalls. And so if I want to call you, and we're both behind firewalls, we need to use a supernode to broker the connection between us. So my Skype client would talk to a supernode, which would then talk to maybe another supernode and another one to eventually figure out where you are and then get to your PC. So you're talking to a supernode, I'm talking to a supernode, maybe the same one, maybe not, but that's what's going on. So there's information about, hey, Dan wants to talk to Richard. Richard says, okay, let's talk. That kind of call control information flows back and forth within the supernode. It also may relay the actual voice stream or video stream, although there's another kind of supernodes called relay nodes that do that actually relay the media stream itself.
I know, we're getting into deep water here, Dan.
I know.
Deep water. So, while all this is going on, the thing that I find fascinating is that Skype is now the world's largest international telephone company in terms of number of minutes connected.
Yep.
how is it doing this logistically on such a vast scale around the world?
Well, that's really the secret to what makes Skype different. There's not servers. There are no central servers, central things. Like if you use Google Talk or AOL Instant Messenger or MSN Messenger for IM, you'd be connecting into a central server. With Skype, there isn't any. It's all this peer-to-peer network of computers that are connected to other computers. And so in this big cloud, as we say these days, calls are able to be routed across that to other people. And that's what really gives it this global capacity. Now, and on the back end, they've got a lot of back-end infrastructure to connect to regular old phone lines and phones that we have.
Finally, as we look at this, Skype has only had 2 or 3 outages in all the really serious outages. Do you think that, give the guys a break?
To a certain degree. I mean, the last big outage we had was about 3 years ago in 2007 when it was down for about a day or 2 days or so when there was an outage there. So on certain levels, it worked great for most people for the rest of that time. On the other hand, we need to understand what happened this time. What was it? What were the technical answers have not yet been forthcoming from Skype. So we'll hope to get more info and find out what's going on.
Note joining me from the United States on the question of Supernodes, and I'm reliably informed that apparently Supernodes have been around for ages, and frankly, I don't think there's any harm to my computer. Okay, it gets galore.